Hello and welcome to a new series on my channel. My name is Ben, also known as Rayquaza-Dot, for those of you that didn't know. And today I am doing a tutorial on C++, so this will be from the ground up and hopefully will be very beginner friendly. So before I get started, I am not exactly 100% on the theory myself. I'm more of just coding it than knowing exactly what it does to the computer. However, I will do my best to explain to people what things do, which will hopefully get people up to speed on the theory side of things. So if you don't know anything about programming, that's fine. Hopefully this will be the series for you. So, as you can see here, I've got Visual Studio 2015 open. That's what I will be using for this tutorial. It's completely up to you what you guys want to use, but I'm going to use Visual Studio. So yeah, in this tutorial, we are going to go over variables. We are going to go over source control as well, and we're going to go over printing to the console. So it's not going to be anything too fancy right off the bat. You've got to start somewhere. So firstly, we're going to go in Visual Studio, we're going to go New Project. We're going to go over to Visual C++, as you can see here, and select Empty Project. And we're going to name this project My Project, like this. Now, there is an option to add to source control, but I'm not going to tick that just yet. So yeah, if you can choose what the location of it, you can choose the location of your project on if you so wish. Otherwise, it will just go to a default location in your documents folder. So yeah, we're going to click OK on that, and it's going to give us a completely blank template. Now, you can, of course, get some pre-built templates like a console application or a Win32 project. However, I feel a lot better for this purposes of this tutorial starting with a completely blank template. So, you can see here we've got all these folders, header files, resource files, source files, all of that. So in source files, we're going to go click Add, New Item, and we're going to select a C++ file, and we're going to name it main.cpp, and keep that lowercase. And then we're going to click Add. So it's going to give us a new CPP file, and it's going to be absolutely blank, but that is okay. So I just drag up previous project. What we need to do firstly, before we actually start this coding, is start with some libraries. So we're going to go include, and it's very important that you do this because this will allow us to access certain things from these libraries that we're including. So if we go tchar.h, this will basically allow us to create a little function in here which will allow us to put all the code inside. So for the most part now, we won't go over functions too much, but we will in a later video. So yeah, we will also include stdio.h. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head what this does. Include string. I do know what this does, but I'll go over that later. And we're also going to, lastly, we're going to go include iostream.h. Sorry, I do make mistypes quite a lot, and that is the bane of my life in terms of coding. Also, if you are not very patient, then I'm sorry. I'm not. I do stutter a lot. Why don't you like that? There we go. Must have mistyped something and not seen it. Right, so now that we have those, we are going to initialize the main function. So we're going to go int tmain int argc tchar argv. Now, don't worry about what any of this does at the moment. We will go over that at a later time. For now, this is basically the main function, and everything inside these curly brackets will go. Everything inside this, all the code we write will go inside this function here. As you can see, this is denoted by, like, we write inside the curly brackets. Now, some people go and write like this, so they leave the curly bracket on the same line as the previous code and then go from there, but I prefer to have them lined up. It makes it for me, it makes it a lot easier to match them up, because you do get problems caused with brackets sometimes, and it's just a lot easier if they line up. So, but that is all up to preference. So firstly, what we're going to do is we are going to go std cout hello world, and I cannot type for J. And then we're going to go end L. So what this line is going to do, if I can type, and you are still complaining. There we go. I wasn't meant to have that bit on the end. So, what this line is meant to do, std cout is from iostream, and so is std-nl. Inside here, what this is going to do is print to the console, hello world. Actually, we're not going to do that because everyone does that. We're just going to go hi. And it's very important to remember that with C++ and most C-based languages, at the end of most lines you're going to have a semicolon. You can see at the end of the function here, tmain, there isn't one. There's a reason for that. You don't put those at the end of functions. So, next, on the next line we're going to go system. Actually, no, I'm going to show you guys what happens first. So we're going to have return 0, so that's basically just returning nothing to the console. And then we're going to go hit build. No, we're going to go debug and click start debugging, or F5. And as you're going to see, it's just going to shut down completely immediately. So what we need to do from there is go system pause and put a semicolon on the end. So what this is going to do is it's going to stop the thing from shutting down, and as you can see here, it's printed out hi. So that's the very first step, I guess. What we will next do is something a little more interesting. So as you can see here, we've got something called string, and we're going to do something with that now. So what we're going to do is we're going to create some variables. Now, for those of you who don't know what a variable is, it's basically something that we define that contains data. We have to assign it with a type of data, so a variable can hold a certain type of data, and we have to tell it what kind of data it's going to hold. So an analogy is we have a cup here and it's got water in it. So this is coincidental, but this cup is the variable and the water is the data inside. If we want to drink the water and then there'll be nothing inside, then we have nothing inside the variable. But we can fill it with any kind of different liquid. We can fill it with Ribena, with like lemonade, anything like that. And the different type of liquid we put inside here would be the different type of data. Hopefully that explains it for everyone. So what we're going to do is we're going to declare a variable of type string. Now a string is just all round gonna help, like, is just an all round type of data. It can hold numbers and letters. So we're gonna go string my string for the time being. We could go string A and then have string B and all of that, but it's not exactly it's not the best thing to have just stupid variable names that you can't remember. It's better to make them short but memorable. So why don't you like that? Okay, so I discovered what the error was. It was something that I was actually going to do a little bit later on in the program, but that now that I've remembered, we have to do it now. So firstly, what I've done is included windows.h up here in the includes, and below iostream we're going to type using name space std, and then end that with a semicolon, and that should fix our problem. So now we have a string called myString, and at the moment it doesn't have anything in it. So what we're going to we can either do this on another line going myString equals hi, and then end that with a semicolon, or we could just put that on the exact same line. There are merits to doing both. I personally prefer doing it all on one line, but if you want to declare a set of variables, you can also go string A, B, C, D, and then end that with a semicolon, and then we've declared 4 separate variables right there. But for the time being, we're only going to do, we only need one, so we can do it all on one line. So now, instead of having in this std out, cout bit, now that we have namespace.std, we can actually take away this std with a double colon here, and the same from the end L. So that will work exactly the same way as it did before. It's going to show us hi, and that's it. So if we then replace this hi bit with my string and then try running it, you'll see it's printed out what was inside the variable, what was contained in the variable. So that's one of the very first steps. We've printed to the console and we've used the variable to do so. So we can do something else. We can type memes, for example, and it'll print out memes. We can also do simple addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division this way as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave that there for a minute. We're going to declare a new kind of variable called an integer. So an integer holds whole numbers only. It will not do decimals. So if we go int A, B, C, and D. Now, algebra is really good for that. This is why we need algebra, kind of, because these are basically just placeholders for which we'll assign numbers. And so we'll have A equals 3, B equals 7, forgot a semicolon, C equals 2, I guess, and D is equal to A plus B plus C plus, just all of those. Right, as you can see, I make a lot of mistakes as well. It's just a common occurrence, unfortunately. So if we go cout D, then so with cout you can have multiples of these things, as long as in between them you have something. So if you go if we, in my string, say A plus B plus C equals, and then we have D. So then we have my string and D, like that. So then if we go and run it, we will have this. A plus B plus B plus C is equal to 12. And that is everything added up. Alternatively, you could have you could instead go A here and then have more of these, and then go plus like this, and then just copy all this and go nuts. So if we go A plus B plus C, and then that's and run that, then of course we'll have all the actual values. So that's the end of the first bit. We've played around with the system a bit. So next what we're going to do is we're going to add this to source control. So source control is basically when you're writing code, you will want to back it up somewhere. And source control will not only let you back it up and restore it if something goes wrong, but it will also it also shows you a set of different revisions of the code. So this is incredibly useful if you screw something up and then you can't undo it. You can simply go back to source control to whichever point in the source control you want and restore it from that. So as you saw, like when we started this, we wanted to we didn't tick the thing that said add to source control, but that's not a problem. We can still add it to source control. So what we're going to do is go over to the Solution Explorer over here and right click and go add solution to source control. And we're going to choose Git, this Git option here, and click OK. So of course now we have this bit up here, and if we go enter a commit message, we just go first commit, and then go commit. Now, if we then hit the sync thing and go over here, it will want a URL. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to what I use for source control. I use Bitbucket. Now, most people use GitHub. It's all down to personal preference. I personally prefer to use Bitbucket. So what I'm going to do is click to create a new repository, and I'm just going to call it, what do we name our project? We named our project my project, so that's what we're going to name it here. So we're going to go my project, and for the time being this is going to be a private repository, but you can have it whatever you like. I do believe GitHub won't let you make private repositories unless you are a premium member. I can't remember how it is exactly, but yeah, we're going to go create repository. So next what we need to do is grab this little URL up here and go over to Visual Studio and paste it in here. Then we hit publish, and that should all be done. So if we go over to GitHub again and we go to commits, you can see here we have first commit right there. That was our message we said, and then if we click on it, it'll show us everything inside, everything that got committed. So all of this stuff, including main CPP. So if we go down to main CPP, you can see everything that we just put. So next, another important step, you don't have to do this, but it is advised that you do this, so which is commenting code. So if you want to distribute code to other people, you can't expect that they'll know exactly what it does off the bat. Even if they are great coders, they may not. They may be stumped by what the code is going to do because you haven't explained what it's going to do. So we are going to start adding comments to this code. So we're going to go this function up here, well, this library up here allows us to use basic Windows functions. So we have successfully commented all of this stuff up here. I will have fast forwarded this because it's not that interesting. It's something that you generally do in your own time. I'm going to also comment up here. Oops. Prevents the window from immediately closing. So yeah, we've successfully commented the code, we've successfully used variables printed to the console, and we have also successfully added this to source control. So that's gonna do it for this episode. If you like this series and you like the way I explain things, then of course some feedback would be appreciated. And based on that, I'll continue this series, otherwise I'll just stop. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, and I shall catch you guys later.